Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast, episode number 361.
Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast. Learn jazz piano without all the guesswork. Now, your host, Brendan Lowe.
Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast, where we have one mission, that is to help you achieve jazz piano freedom so that you can express your true inner soul and emotions instead of having to copy what others have shown you. Now, we do this by providing structured and organized jazz piano education on specific jazz piano tools that you can then take and use over any tune so that you have complete jazz piano freedom. All right, welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast, episode number 361. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of JazzPianoSchool.com, Jazz Piano School. Thank you so much for being here. I got a great episode. This is an awesome episode. I cannot stress enough how important this is. Now, a lot of students will, what am I trying to say here? A lot of students are probably going to write this off, right? And you might work at it for a little bit and then give up and go on to something else. I'm challenging you. When you can utilize this secret that I'm going to be saying in this episode, and if you can work hard on this, just this. How many times, by the way, like this is something I've been wanting to talk about and educate students on. Like, how many times do you just practice one thing? Just one thing, right? For 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right? How many of you out there listening can say you do that? You know, and it's difficult, right? I'm there. I'm right there with you. Trust me. And I heard this recently. You know, I listen to a lot of educational podcasts. I listen to motivational podcasts. I listen to things on mindset, productivity, efficiency. And this is a really important point that I've been hearing a bunch lately. And it's like, you know, we get too fancy. We just get too fancy. It's not the fancy stuff that makes us better. It's not the fancy stuff that produces large amounts of results in the craft or the thing that we're wanting in life. It's just not. Get too fancy. We try to do way too many things, right? And again, I ask the question, like, how many of you out there focus on one thing, master it? And honestly, the answer, because I've asked a lot of students this already, I get like 0 yeses, right? 6 weeks until you've mastered it. And the other issue that comes up is, how do you know if you've mastered something? How do you know it's ready? Like, how do you know a certain skill set in jazz piano is ready? Because it always feels like you have more to learn, right? It always feels like you have another voicing to learn, another lick to learn, another setup to learn. But you know what? That's due to information overload on the internet. There really isn't that many things. When you follow a sequential path, that's actually, I've laid out for you in my new 3-pack course bundle called the Proficient Jazz Pianist. There are levels. In each level, I give you a skill set, right? And at the end of that level, there's a proficiency test. It is the Proficient Jazz Pianist. When you take the test, you know if that tool is ready or not. Right? And the only thing you're focusing on in that one level is one skill set. It's nothing else. It's nothing else. And when you follow this path and you make these skill sets proficient, that's why I've called it the Proficient Jazz Pianist, is that you will be proficient. You will ultimately, like, guaranteed reach your goals if you just become proficient at these skill sets. As I'm about to show you, one of the skill sets is in this podcast lesson. It truly is the golden secret, I would say, to playing cocktail-style ballads. And I'm going to get into that and show you it and teach you it. And it's very, very easy. I mean, you're not going to be wowed. You're going to be bored. And a lot of you are going to probably write it off saying, okay, that's not it, right? I do this all the time. I do this. I am there all the time. I'm a student as well, learning so many things. And I hear these things. I hear mentors say it. I hear gurus say it. And I'm like, that can't be it. That just cannot be it. Like, I've done that. I've tried it. But how well have we actually tried it? How hard have we worked on it? How well can we execute it, right? And most of the time, the answer is not that well. Not that well. And we don't know. And that's the issue I have with jazz piano education out there a lot of the times, is that a lot of teachers We'll just give you the content, but there's no real check-in. There's no real like basis for, are you able to execute this particular skill set in order to do XYZ that you told me you wanted? And that's why the Proficient Jazz Pianist is built around goals. It's not built around education. It's not built around like, hey, learn hand independence, or hey, learn bebop, right? That's not your goal. Your goal is one of these three things that I've heard students request of me when taking lessons or looking to play jazz piano. Number one, students come to me and they say, I want to play in a group. I want to play in a band. I want to play in a group. I want to play jazz piano with other musicians. That's one of the main goals students have. Now, again, there's a lot of information you just don't need to be able to do that. If it's your goal, you're probably spending thousands of hours on stuff you just don't need because you don't know. You just don't know what you need. And a lot of times memberships are set up where you go in and you just kind of, roam around and learn things that you think are going to be helpful for you, to reach that goal, right? Number two goal, solo piano. Students want to learn how to play solo piano. And that's exactly why I'm telling you this today, is because I just released the cocktail style solo piano ballad course inside the Proficient Jazz Pianist. And I'm releasing it level so that students really don't get ahead of themselves, because these skill sets, like I'm about to teach you, they have to be mastered because they are used all the time. All the time. Every single ballad I'm about to show you and analyze, and I'm going to demonstrate, I use the skill set in this secret over every single ballad. Every single one. Every single one. So you can imagine that this skill set is probably important to learn how to master and do and execute over ballads, right? And if you can't do this, then every single ballad you play will not be as good as you want it to be. You won't feel fulfilled. You won't be able to do it. And so, again, my questions lead to other questions. How many times have you focused on one thing in the past where you've gotten it enough to be able to do what it needs to do? Sometimes that takes weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But you know what? If we're driven and we're disciplined, it's not like it can't be done. I've done it. Thousands before you have done it. Tens of thousands of other students have done it as well, right? So it's not like it can't be done, right? It's not an impossible feat that you're looking to do. It's just, you just need to apply discipline to your practice and your workouts and your practice workouts. And sometimes you just need to know what the tool is. So luckily for you, I'm going to show the secret is right here. And I'm telling you right now, I'm being completely transparent. This is level 2 in my cocktail style ballads. There's many levels. There's not many levels, but there's about 7 levels. Level 1 is a different skill set. Level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You take proficiency tests and move up through the levels as you get better at playing style ballads. It's amazing. And the test lets you know where you're at, right? And if you're looking to pick that up, by the way, you can get a $200 discount on that right now during the release of this. It's a 3-course bundle pack, like I just described, on 3 different goals. It'll teach you how to play in a group, it'll teach you solo piano, and it'll teach you improvisation. Improvisation isn't released just yet. Goal number 1's been released, how to play in a group. And right now I'm releasing goal number 2, solo piano, level by level. So again, go to jazzpianoschool.com/proficient, not double, not twice, but just one proficient, to get that $200 discount on the course during this launch release. But again, these levels allow you to take these proficiency tests so that you know where you're at, right? So you know where you're at playing wise. When I first created Jazz Piano School, there's written tests and things like that. That's all well and good. But again, that's not our goal. My philosophies and my education has changed a lot. Like I want to help you play better, right? So we don't need written stuff. We don't need to read practice exercises because we're not trying to read practice exercises when we play jazz. Jazz isn't about reading notation. It's the furthest thing from it. So like over the years, when I first started Jazz Piano School, I put all these practice exercises in it and the textbooks and the lesson text, and it was very, like credentialed and stuff like that. Different colleges were using it, high schools and things like that still are. But my playing has changed, my philosophies, because that's not what jazz is about. Why are we going to take a path that really kind of leads you down? Now, I'm not saying it's helpful. I'm not saying it's not helpful. It is helpful. But ultimately, Proficient Jazz Pianist is about cutting the fat. It's about trimming the fat. It's about direct focus on the skill sets you need to make the most amount of progress in the shortest amount of time to become a proficient jazz pianist at certain elements. Now, I'm not giving you all the elements, right? That's thousands of different things. But what I'm doing is making you proficient in these goals, all these 3 goals that I've heard students say over the past, 20 plus years of teaching. And when you get proficient at these things, everything else becomes so much easier, so much faster, and the process of learning jazz piano becomes like just a walk in the park. Like, you know how to go about doing certain things, playing solo piano, playing in a group. And at that point, it's about crafting certain nuances. It's about the fancy stuff after that. It's about the spices, the flavors, the small nuanced details, right? Really particular and meticulous things. But you've done the bulk of the work up front, and now it's time to really kind of just add on the small, finite details that are going to really make your playing sparkle. And you really can't do that unless you have a solid foundation to put that stuff on top of. That's what the Proficient Jazz Pianist is about. So in this, you're going to see me go through ballads, and every single ballad that I play and that you hear pros play, right, is going to utilize this system. I promise you. Now, are there situations where this isn't being utilized? Of course, right? And that's what I teach you in the course, right? That's like 1%. Like 1% of the situations you might see, oh, you got to shift it like this. But that shouldn't be of your concern right now. If you can get 99% of the work done by practicing this one thing, right, then you're golden. Right? You're golden. Again, as far as the practice exercises go and working through that, that's all in the course. So if you're looking for more on that, but I'm going to teach you the secret and what it is right now, show you what it is. It's up to you if you want to kind of take this on yourself, or if you want more help, you want me to practice with you, show you the exercises I recommend, get the rest of the levels, and, continue to advance through this amazing cocktail style ballad course. I truly believe, I'm confident, this is by far the best education I've released in my 10 years of running jazz piano school, creating courses, and releasing them to the public. Like, I have over a decade years worth of data on courses, right? And I actually go through other jazz piano courses myself on other people's websites as well to check out what's happening, right? And I get so much feedback from students all the time. And the only feedback I've gotten from this is, Brendan, this is your absolute best course. This is an amazing course. This is absolutely fantastic. And I'm floored. I'm very happy because, it's the culmination of 10 plus years of me running live programs, my mastermind, my accelerator program, putting courses out there, getting feedback from students, really learning about the process. I mean, I'm a student as well, learning from an instructor standpoint always. I'm still learning, right, today, but I did go through the process you guys went through, and I'm here to help. I'm here to put out information that is the most helpful for you, right? I'm not just trying to show you stuff. I care deeply. I literally care deeply about having you make the progress you want to experience the beauty and the fun and the joy of this craft. Because when you do that, trust me, it's like the most amazing thing ever. Students light up like a Christmas tree. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's transformative, right? Your life is transformed by playing amazing music. And if I can tell you that right now, the secret you're about to learn in this podcast will do that for you, all that I can hope for is that you listen, or maybe invest in the course to get the rest of the components you need, because this is just one podcast, right? But I'm honestly that confident in it. So enough blabber. Let's get to this. It's going to be short. Again, I'm trying to warn you. It's not going to be mind-blowing. It's not going to be what you think it is. But when you work on this, I promise you, it's not fancy. You don't need the fancy stuff to get better. You need the hard, difficult, simple stuff. You need the simple stuff that's difficult to learn and work at a long time. Master those fundamentals and you will get better, right? And then with the other components in the course, that just adds to it as well. Again, jazzpianoschool.com/proficient. You can get that $200 discount today and through the release of this course as I'm releasing levels, and then I'll be on to the improv course. It's a 3-pack bundle, so you get all 3 goals. When you buy the Proficient Jazz Pianist, you get access to goal 1, how to play in a group, access to goal 2, solo piano, and access to goal 3, Brendan, I want to learn how to improvise. Great. You get access to all 3 with a $200 discount. Here's the solo piano ballad secret. Stab right in. All right, so I'm not going to tease you one bit. I'm going to dive right into this and tell you exactly what the secret is that's going to transform your kind of beginner, intermediate ballads all the way into the professional sound. And it's definitely not what you think. Here it is. When you go to voice your chords, what needs to happen is when you are playing anything in a ballad, cocktail ballad style, you need to put the bass note on the bottom. That's pretty obvious, okay? Keep your bass notes below C3. Now, that's not the secret, but that's what has to happen in order for this sound and system to work. You have to keep your bass notes below C3. The next thing you're going to have on top is obviously the melody. So I've taught you two components so far, bass note and melody, right? Now, if you've followed my presentations and my education through Jazz Piano School for a while, you'll know what's coming next. But if you haven't, and maybe you're just still here for the secret, the next secret to playing professional style cocktail ballads is this. The middle area of your hands are going to split the shells with your thumbs. That's it. That's it, right? And you're like, I should have stopped this video. But watch this, okay? Just watch this. When I go to play my ballads, check it out. So practically, I shouldn't say practically, every single voicing I played there, just to demonstrate this, was with the split shell system. Now, if you can't do that, nothing else is going to matter. I'll say that one more time. If you can't go through a tune and simply split your shells between your thumbs, nothing else is going to matter, because what this allows us to do is it opens up our right hand for colors and extensions to voice all of the melodies, all of the chords in that beautiful, lush cocktail style ballad like sound that you're going to want, right? So again, every single voicing here, I have split shells at the heart of all my voicings between my thumbs. Now, are there situations that you're going to get into? Yes, of course. But 99% of the time, this secret right here is the number one thing holding students that I've seen over the past 20 plus years of teaching thousands of students through Jazz Piano School, holding students back to playing gorgeous voicing. Now, I'm just going to go through the real book right now. I'm literally just going to go through the real book and show you everything that I would do on all these tunes. In every single ballad, I'm just going to pull up different ballads as I flip through here. Every single ballad is going to use the split shell system. Okay, so if I get to, let me see, Body and Soul, or even Blue and Green. Let's do Blue and Green, right? Famous tune. I'm going to align the chart here, right, a little bit more so you can see this. Boom. Everything I just played, split shell system. I'll do it one more time for you, right? So here's my full pro sound. A little roll. Little roll. All of this is split shell. Now, at the heart of it, check it out. Melody, split shell. Bass note, below C3. Melody, split shell. Bass note below C3. Melody, shells, bass note below C3. Now here, because there is no melody on the D flat, I can actually just use my right hand to play the shells. I don't need to try to reach these tenths here, right? There's no point in that. I can just use my right hand to help out and then play the melody. But check it out, C minor, melody, split shells, okay? Now clearly there's a lot more stuff happening that I'm adding into all of this that's making it sound great. But at the heart of it, again, in the Proficient Jazz Pianist 3-pack bundle course that I just released with this cocktail style ballad method, this is one of the levels. This is actually going to be level 2 in that course. If you want to get that, you can go to jazzpianoschool.com/proficient. All of this, I go way more in depth and teach you why. But again, this is one of the first steps. So we have our split shells, melody, and I could play through every single ballad this way. Every single one, right? And if you can't do this, one of the great things about the Proficient Jazz Pianist is that there's tests, right? And I give you exercise to work up to it. But let's check out some more tunes, right? I'm going to show you exactly how I continue to use this. Blue Room, Rodgers and Hart. Love this tune. Here's my 1-6-3. Now we have 1-6-3 because this isn't a 7th chord, it's a 6th chord. So I got my split shells. So I'm going to harmonize the melody with the split shells and then play the melody by itself, right? Now here, I'm going to play the D minor with that melody. I got 1 split shell. So a lot of students say, oh, Brendan, I can't play tenths. That's okay. You can just jump it like this. So just like that, right? And then the G minor here. Again, split shells, melody. Split shells, bass note, melody. Again, the C7 doesn't have a melody there, so I can harmonize this however I want with my right hand rootless voicings, right? Split shells on the F major 7. Split shells, melody. Again, D minor 7, I can just play here by itself. So anytime there's a melody note below a chord, I'm harmonizing my 2-hand voicing with the split shell system. Right? Now, there's another level before this that preps you for that in the course, right? And again, that's very, very important because this is going to allow you to add on more advanced layers. Now, I can go through literally any single ballad. I will. This is all that has to happen, okay? And when you work on this one thing, this will drastically set up and change your playing to add more layers in, okay? So here's my minor 7. Now, I can't reach the 10th from a B flat to D, right, on the B flat. So again, I have my split shells here. Sorry. Here's my split shells, right? And here's my melody. So I'm going to play split shells. Again, here, I can't reach my B flat, so I'm going to jump it. Split shells. Right? Here's my split shells with my E flat minor 7. And then my D7's alone, so I can play this however I want. I can do some reharms if I want. And again, on the D flat major 7, technically the D flat's not over the downbeat of 1, so I could do this, right? But if I did want to play the harmonization on the A flat, I could do this, right? Split shells, split shells, split shells, split shells. Everything I play is split shells. This is the secret to playing professional cocktail style ballads because it's about the resonance. It's about the resonance. These shells want to stick together. The majority of students play shells way too high. They want to be in the middle of the piano, for example, on this E flat minor 7, right? Melody here, we have shells in the middle of the piano, and we have the bass note down here, okay? This is too thin. This bass note's too high, right? You're trying to resemble the sound of a bottom end bass, a bass player, right? This is way too high. You got to keep your bass notes below C3 right here, right? So we got shells in the middle of the piano. Now, the reason our shells are up right here in the middle of the piano around middle C almost all the time, because this creates a perfect blended resonance for our harmonies. And then finally, we have melody. Now, this gap here in the future levels of the course, right, the cocktail style ballad course, jazzpianoschool.com/proficient, you start to fill in, and I teach you how to fill these in. Right? So then we fill in with different types of extensions. Now, as you get a little bit more advanced, I tell you how to fill in between your shells as well, but that's not one of the first levels because you need to learn how to do some other things first. But again, split shells for everything. So if I were to fill this in very quickly for you now. On the D7, I'm going to play this chord alone. Right? So here I'm adding a lot of stuff. Everything I'm doing is split shells plus extra stuff. But again, at the base of it, just split shells. Just split shells. It's that easy, right? Too many students focus on way too many different things. How many times can you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to focus on this one thing for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks until I really get it solid, till I master it. And how do you know if you master it? You don't, right? And that's what the proficiency tests are for in my new Proficient Jazz Piano course, because it lets you know, are you ready for the next tool or are you not? Let's do a couple more here for you, just to really kind of show you that this is not a ploy. It's not like a trick. It literally is used on every single ballad that I play, any professional will play, any like jazz giant that you look at transcriptions, this is always played, right? Split shells, 1, 6, 3, melody. Now the split shell for a minor 7 flat 5 has 3 shells because we need that flat 5 in there. So I'm going to flat 5 and 7 split shells. Right, here's all 3 of my shells: melody, bass note. Split shells here, split shells. My 2 thumbs splitting the shells. Literally every single ballad, any cocktail style ballad you play has to be arranged like this. Once you start to move up the levels in my Proficient Jazz Pianist course for the cocktail style ballad section, you start to learn all this. Then you learn other things: how to put in extensions, how to put in fills, how to put in inner voicing movements. Feathering. But again, everything stems from the split shells. And the reason that you're able to create the sound, a professional sound, after the split shells is because it truly is the foundation and setup to add in all the other beautiful textures that I know you're probably looking to achieve. So there's really 2 ways you can go about doing this on your own. You can practice your split shell system, right, using practice exercises, work this out through all the chords. So again, you can go through tunes and play your split shell system. You should really be able to play your split shells through all ballads. Any cocktail style ballad you want to play, you should be able to go through with beautiful time. 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2. I could play through any cocktail style ballad with the split shell system the entire time. No colors, no extensions, no fills. It'll sound beautiful, right? Because it's simple and it's the foundation to creating beautiful cocktail style ballads. Now, how many of you watching this can say you can do that right now? My guess is not too many, because so many of us, including myself when I was growing up, would go on YouTube, would go to the teachers and ask for the most fancy stuff, right? But unfortunately, the most fancy stuff doesn't allow us to build a foundation that allows us to add in the stuff that we want. Because when we're learning all those kind of fun little tricks, the root of everything, the foundation, is so unstable that nothing really works. We still have thin sounds by playing the shells in the wrong place. We have thin sounds by playing the bass notes in the wrong place. We have different imbalances and resonances in our harmonies that just don't sound good because we're playing up here in the middle part of the piano with small gaps and not big enough gaps to really, incorporate extensions, and colors, So anyway, really, really awesome secret that I really hope you take to heart. I'm moving fast because that's it. Honestly, that's the secret. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. But I would really challenge you to just work on that. Work on that for 30 days and see how your cocktail style ballads start to change. Now, if you want more help, if you want the practice exercises, if you want to practice with me, if you want me to show you tips, more hacks around this entire system, you want to see how I analyze more ballads with this, you can pick up the Cocktail Style Ballad Proficient Jazz Pianist course. It's actually a 3-pack bundle by going to jazzpianoschool.com/proficient. You get a course on how to play in a group, a course on solo piano, and a course on improvisation, which is coming out a little bit later. So you get lifetime access to all that. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know. But please enjoy that. Please practice it and let me know how your practice goes with the split shell system through any and all ballads to really bump up your level in playing professional cocktail style jazz piano ballads. All right? Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.